Hi everyone, Mark Cabaniss here for another Word Music digital reading session, and I'm particularly excited about this one today for two reasons. Number one, we have in our studios my dear longtime friend Dave Williamson. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks, bud.
It's great to have you here today,
Thank you,
Dave. It's always a pleasure to see you, and always a pleasure to have you working with us here at Word, Dave. And the second reason I'm particularly excited about this one is that it's about everlasting. And really excited about this collection. Dave, talk about this one. How did it come about? We kind of talked about it early on, and you took the ball and ran with it.
Well, yeah, it was exciting. I was, first of all, just really blown away that you would ask me to be involved in this project.
It's a logical choice.
I truly greatly honored by that. We essentially identified, out of a possible several hundred, we identified 10 iconic worship songs that deserve to have a life beyond the generation they were born in. And this kind of goes back to the 80s, kind of the era where worship songs were sort of born in. Mm-hmm. We rearranged them to fit contemporary ears and contemporary tastes, and tried to keep faith with all of the things that were intended by the writers as they wrote them, but just rearrange them and give them new life.
Absolutely. So some of the songs that you'll be hearing in this digital reading session: Awesome God, El Shaddai, Great is the Lord. On the list we go. We've got a lot to cover. Let's jump right into it then. The first one is Great is the Lord. Talk about this arrangement, Dave.
Michael W. Smith and his wife Debbie just did a fantastic job originally with writing Great is the Lord, and we just updated it. I hope Smitty likes it.
Here's Great is the Lord. Okay, so you just got a taste of the sound of what Dave is doing to these classics, giving them a very modern worship kind of sensibility. And what you hear on the recording is a rhythm section playing, but we also have a full orchestration available, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we felt like it was gilding the lily a little bit on this project to put a full orchestra along with it. But for those of you who've got orchestras or any part of an orchestra, they can play along with these charts just great. And they'll enjoy it too. They'll have a great time with it.
Absolutely. So up next is Thy Word. Tell us about Thy Word, Dave.
Well, another Smitty song, right? Michael W. and Amy Grant, of course. And she had the album on this, the single that made it popular way back then, and a song that again deserves to live on.
Absolutely. Here's Thy Word. Up next is The Name of the Lord. You have a story about this one, don't you, Dave?
Yeah, I do. Clinton Utterbach, who's the man who wrote this song, came up to me one time as I was leading worship for a big old convention out at Opryland.
Yeah.
And he was sitting in the front row of 5,000 people or something. And we used his song in worship that morning with that gang of people. And he came up afterwards and introduced himself. And just a wonderful, distinguished gentleman, but loves God and has a great sense of what works in music. And I love doing this song of his.
Here's The Name of the Lord. Up next, Dave, is There is a Redeemer, but before you talk about that, I want to tell everyone about our stem mixes that are available for this entire collection. And if you're not familiar with what a stem mix is, most of you are, but for those of you who aren't, of course it's a special mix that where you can pull out certain instruments, the drums. If you want to use the track and yet have live drums to want to play along with the track, then you can pull just the drums out or pull the guitar out or whatnot. So it's a really flexible component and a great tool to assist you in enhancing how you present these wonderful tracks in worship. So that said, talk about the next song.
Yeah, Melody Green wrote "There Is a Redeemer," and we did some things to it that Melody might not recognize, but I think she would ultimately come to like them.
I'm sure she will. Here's "There Is a Redeemer." Up next is another classic. It's like one hit after the next.
Isn't that something?
It is wonderful. Listening to the recording, you know, when we first got the final mixes, Dave, I just couldn't turn it off, and I've listened to it several times. I really have. It's just so worshipful and wonderful, and not only brings back great memories, but it brings them all so much into the present. And El Shaddai, talking about a classic.
Oh man,
yeah.
You know, one of my hopes, Mark, is that this project, along with others, many of them being done by word, as a matter of fact, is going to help kind of regrow the choir in a lot of settings. And I think this is one song that has a chance to do that. For those of you who remember El Shaddai, that wonderful song that Amy Grant made popular, that's written by John Thompson and Michael Card, you're going to love the way the choir sings this melody, and I think you're going to love what happens in the band.
I'm sure you will. Here's El Shaddai. Well, Dave, up next is the song that kind of started it all.
It certainly did.
Yeah, I don't know what brought this song to my mind, probably the Holy Spirit. But I was driving along the road, and this song came to mind, and then that's when I got on the phone and called you.
Yes, I love that.
Yes, Lord, yes.
I love that story, and I love this song. And I told Lynn Kiesecker, the writer of the song, that this was in the collection, and he about dropped his drawer. He got excited.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for you to hear it. We kind of took it a Kirk Franklin direction. Yes, Lord, yes.
Dave, we all love Twyla Paris,
Oh,
and
yeah.
what a wonderful songwriter she is, and so many songs she's given us, and this next one is one of her best of all time.
Yes, it is. And to me, it reflects everything that I know about Twyla's life. You know, this just came from the depths of her spirit. We will glorify. And I kind of took it I guess I was influenced a little bit by Paul Simon in writing this arrangement, so I had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, that sounds great. Here's We Will Glorify. Well, Dave, up next we have something from Rich Mullins. I mean, a classic of all time,
Yeah.
Awesome God. And I'll just insert here quickly my own personal, unfortunately I never got to meet Rich, but I have a dear friend, Lowell Alexander, you know, a wonderful songwriter.
Absolutely.
In town. You've arranged and orchestrated many of his songs. And Rich really took Lowell under his wing as Lowell was a young songwriter and taught Lowell a whole lot about songwriting. And Lowell tells that story many times. So for those of you who are watching, you wouldn't know that Rich was not only a wonderful songwriter, but he was a wonderful teacher. And Lowell, for example, is one of the beneficiaries. So, and we're the beneficiary from something like Awesome God.
Yeah.
What'd you do with this one?
Well, of all the iconic songs in this collection, this one is probably the greatest icon statement.
You're right.
So, because of that, we say it gave it sort of a dance groove. Can I say that? In Baptist Church? Right? I don't know if I can.
Maybe we call it a movement group.
A movement group,
For the
yeah,
Baptist
a choreography group.
Yeah.
And there's a little reggae in it and a little everything. So I love this tune.
It's fun. It really
Yeah.
is. Here's Awesome God. Dave, up next, another Twyla Paris song, How Beautiful.
Thank you. And there's a little studio story about this one. We were recording the rhythm section and had 5 rhythm players that I love, including my son playing the drums. And our guitar player, David Cleveland, who plays for Twyla Paris, came out after the first take of the song, and he said, Twyla is going to just love this. We've got to start recording it and performing it this way in concert.
Wow.
So I don't know if she's going to or not. Twyla, please do. But this is How Beautiful.
Chose to forgive and never did.
Next up is I Exalt Thee. Talk about that one, Dave.
We were looking very hard to try and find a song to end the collection with, a song that would sort of sum everything up. And thank you, Pete Sanchez, for writing this song. It just typifies everything that we wanted to say with this project for the worship leading choir.
Here's I Exalt Thee. And with I Exalt Thee, that wraps up this Word Music digital reading session of Everlasting, new settings of timeless worship songs from Dave Williamson. Dave, thank you so much for sharing your substantial gifts with us to bring this collection to life.
A great honor for me, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's our pleasure. And if you've enjoyed hearing some of the stories we've told you about some of these songs, in the back of the book there are a few more stories about the songs. It's always, I think it's always interesting to see kind of how the songs were born and those kind of things.
No doubt.
And it really helps, I think, as you set it up in worship, you can tell even a little bit about the song. So you'll look for that. Dave, thanks again for being a part, and we look forward to more exciting things from you here at Word in the days and months and years to come.
Thanks, Mark.
And thanks to you again for watching this Word Music digital reading session.